Greetings, YouTube. At the time of the recording, this is November 14th, and some of the election results are still being counted because the elections are really close, razor thin. Um, in a number of these, election contests, Republicans are already claiming election fraud. So let's be really clear about something. The latest data we've got, which covered from the years 2000 to 2014, so a 14-year time span in the United States, over a billion votes were cast. Billion with a B. Okay? And out of those billion votes, there were 31 credible cases that could be individual voter fraud. Not cases that were prosecuted, not convictions, just credible cases that could be investigated. 31 out of over a billion votes. Individual voter fraud, where a person goes to a polling station, pretends to be someone else, or goes to multiple polling stations and attempts to vote more than once, occurs so rarely in the United States that it is meaningless when it comes to elections. 31 credible cases out of over a billion votes. All of these voter ID laws, which have not existed forever, are bullshit. They've always been bullshit. Their goal is to intimidate. Their goal is to make people feel that they are not allowed to vote. Now, for example, in many dense urban environments, a whole lot of people of color don't have driver's licenses, which means they may not have any kind of picture ID because a picture ID is not free. That's a poll tax. Like it or not, if you have to pay for your ID, that's a poll tax. And that's unconstitutional. But who cares, right? The Republicans certainly don't. Because every disenfranchised person of color is one more vote that isn't being cast against them. Because traditionally, people of color don't vote for the GOP. Because people of color are smarter than a whole lot of white people, apparently. So, what are the voter ID laws again for? Oh, that's right, to keep black people from voting. Also, we've had polling places closed, hours shortened. We've had early voting either eliminated or curtailed. We've had ballots not being counted properly that were mailed in, even though they're legal votes. We've had polling places that didn't have enough voting machines, even though in the same precinct there were new voting machines in storage. In some cases, people had to wait 3 and 4 hours in line to vote. What a shock. Those places were predominantly places where people of color live. But, the Republicans are claiming voter fraud. Because the Republicans are morally bankrupt fucking criminals. The Republican Party is a terrorist organization. They ceased to be a political entity decades ago. Their sole goal is to destroy America and to reap the benefits in the process for the wealthy. They don't care what happened to this country. They don't care what happens to civil rights. They don't care what happens to immigrants. They don't care what happens to the environment. They don't care about anything. Not your pension, not your Social Security, not your investments in your home. They don't care about anything except benefiting the wealthy, of whom most members of Congress are. A whole lot of Congress members are millionaires, which is horrible. Members of Congress should be us, and they should not be millionaires. We should take money completely out of politics. It should go into one big ass pool, and the money should be then divided by some kind of algorithm to figure out what each office should get for their campaign budget. And that's all you get. You either win the election on that, or you don't get to run. But nah, instead, we create bullshit voter ID laws which do nothing but disenfranchise voters. For example, there were robocalls and things telling people not to go to voting places because ICE might be there, making people who are legally able to vote because they're citizens nervous that they may be caught in some kind of dragnet, not only prevented from voting, but potentially being deported, because we've had cases in America where U.S. citizens have been thrown into the deportation grist mill because they were brown. So, don't give me the bullshit that voter ID laws are about protecting the elections. They're not. And they never have been. Their sole purpose is to limit voters' access to a ballot. But people like me, hey, people like me don't have a problem getting a ballot, now do they? Because I'm the whitest white boy that ever walked out of White Town. And my privilege is a fucking Superman cape a mile long. I can get away with anything in this country. And it sickens me that I can get away with anything in this country. I shouldn't be able to. But I can. Because a whole lot of politicians are catering to my needs and nobody else's. They sure as shit don't care about women, people of color, gay people, trans people, those in the military who they are currently destroying in useless, pointless wars. And don't care when they come home. We have 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. So I reiterate, the GOP is a terrorist organization and voter ID laws are bullshit. So anyone that starts to defend them, you know what they're defending. They're defending white supremacy. They're defending the 1% against the 99. And as soon as they start to defend them, you know that they're full of bullshit. And politically, they know nothing. So you can now safely ignore them and cut them out of your life. Because unless we marginalize and contain the contagion that is the GOP and the red caps, they're just going to keep burning down the fucking world because that's the only tool they've got. Progressives want to make a better future for us. Hence the name, Progressive Progress. And all the red caps have are torches and Molotovs, waiting to burn down the world. And they don't care who they kill in the process, so long as liberals don't win anything. So long as people of color know their place, and women know their place, and gay people know their place, and trans people know their place. So long as they hearken back to a fictional past that never existed. So long as white, straight dudes are in charge of everything. That's the party of the GOP. And if you elect them, if you put that Republican in office, you are supporting those policies. And if you like those policies, get the fuck off my channel. And if you know someone in your family that likes those policies, stop talking to them. Isolate them. Let them know I'm not engaging with you because you are supporting a political agenda which is horrendous, which is the political agenda that led to the fucking Holocaust. I freely admit this video has wandered a bit. I don't care. My original points still stand. The GOP is a terrorist organization and voter ID laws are bullshit. And anyone that supports them isn't welcome here.